There I am. What's going on, everyone? I'm your guy, Pat Bernard, just trying to figure things out still. Oh, a long, dreary, rainy day here in Philadelphia, but there are a lot of things I need to get into with you guys. That's right, the people of Philadelphia. And there's a lot going on. I'm going to talk Phillies, I'm going to talk Eagles draft, and I'm going to talk some Flyers puck today because I got two big guests that are going to be joining me a little later on the show. But yeah, I wanted to you know this Phillies team, this Eagles team, us winning the Super Bowl. It's like the Thanos meme. It cost us the city. Sixers stink. Flyers stink. Now this Phillies team has a lot of questions, more questions than answers. You look at yesterday's game, and again, only 4 hits to show for it. Not a lot of effort. Not a lot of anger coming from that dugout, and it's a shame because there was a few times during the broadcasting yesterday's game, they showed the Flyers, Phillies dugout, and there's no one getting mad. There's no one getting aggressive. Nobody wants to step forward to do anything. They're just sitting there eating peanuts. Like this team is lifeless. I'll say it again. This Phillies team is lifeless. The at bats are a joke. Bryce Harper, number one, very aggressive with every pitch. He's looking to crush every shot. Kyle Schwarber yesterday with 3 Ks. Not good. Like this team is averaging 9 Ks a game. They got struck out yesterday by Colin really Rhea yesterday. Colin Rhea yesterday just lit up this Phillies offense. Fastballs, 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 fastballs. Like this Phillies team has nothing really to show for. They get little blooper hits. Like how many doubles did the Cubs have yesterday? 6 doubles. Like again, it's back to that issue. If it ain't the bullpen that's giving you issue, it's the lineup. This lackluster lineup. And if it ain't the lackluster lineup, it's the infield defense. Like it's dreadful to watch baseball. My man Joe Sullivan, right off the bat, he says the Phillies didn't do anything this all season, and it shows. Yeah, Joe, it does show. Like the offense of the Phillies is not there. And they didn't do anything this offseason. They bring in Max Kepler, who had a hit in yesterday's game, but pretty much up until this point, it's nothing. Like they didn't do anything against the Mets. They get swept by the Mets, and now they're on a 5 game losing streak. A 5 game losing streak. The biggest in the whole entire MLB right now. They're 13-13. They're a 500 baseball club. They don't play good against good teams. There's only been one. They looked good against the Dodgers so far. But after that, no. And it's looked, and like, again, you go back to yesterday's game, and I'm going to talk about Taiwan Walker. All right, Taiwan Walker got a lot of work early in the game yesterday. He had 4 Ks, gave up 6 hits, gave up 2 walks and 2 runs. But like I said, it's not always on him. I mean, there's defensive deficiencies with this Phillies team and a lackluster lineup. Bryson Stott, I've seen swinging out everything outside the strike zone. Bryce Harper just wants to crush every at bat. He's not even playing fundamental baseball right now. Not even taking the first pitches. He quickly tries to swing at everything. Kyle Schwarber with 3 Ks. Like it's not good enough. And when this team's averaging 9, 10 Ks a game, Like, you're not going to be able to compete for a World Series. And I hope this is not the signs of what this team's going to be going down the road. Like they may let go Rob Thompson, and what does that do? Does that really juice up the team like it did a couple of years back when they got rid of Girardi? At some point, it's got to come on the talent. At some point, it's got to be on the talent. It's got to be. Joe Sullivan says the one good thing they did, Lazardo, I think it stops at the bleeding today. Yeah, listen, and I'm going to talk about Lazardo too. Joe Halchek, and what's up, Joe? He goes, the Phillies bullpen sucks, and some shakeup needs to happen. And you're right, the bullpen's an absolute atrocious. Like Kickering is Orlando Kickering is like Kickering is struggling really bad out of the bullpen. I thought he might have been a bright spot, and he's a dim light. Like he gives you no hope, none. My man Frankie James checking in says, "Don't you know? Don't you know? What's up, buddy?" And Frankie James will be joining me a little later in the show today, around 9:40 for all you Flyer fans who want to talk some Flyers puck. Because you know me, I'm not going to hold back. You know I got a line of questions for these gentlemen, for him and Jordan Hull. He goes, "Oh man, Pat's already fired up. Jordan and I are in trouble." Yes, yes. Again, it just I don't get it. I don't get it. This is a lackluster lineup that can only give you one inning of baseball. They get dribbling hits here and there. I don't understand. Like when I look in that dugout, I don't see no one getting frustrated, no one angry, nobody wanting to step up. They're just sitting there chewing on peanuts. Like this is business as usual. Like you need someone to come through and start hitting some dingers. It's frustrating. Like even and now the Phillies finally gave Philly fans what they want by putting Kyle Schwarber steadily now in that 4 hole, and we have nothing to show for it. Nothing. Like Bryce Stott leading off. Like you might have to go back to what worked. You might have to put Kyle Schwarber back in that leadoff position. We all wanted Schwarber in that the cleanup position so he can hit the dingers and drive some more runs, but the runs are not coming. Like Kyle Schwarber is what it is. He's just a leadoff guy, and that's where he feels the most comfortable. And we may have to put him right back there. And I'm okay with Alec Bohm batting eighth. This is where he's been the most production. This is productive. He's not feeling any sorts of pressure. Joe Howe says, and Trey's defense cost us some runs in the game yesterday. Yeah, and right. Like the Cubs had 6 doubles yesterday, Joe. 6. Like you go from Taiwan Walker to Tanner Banks. The Rees and Hernandez come in to start pitching. And we know that bullpen's a joke. Like there's signs of red flags all over for this Phillies team. Lackluster lineup, bullpen issues, defense deficiencies, problems all over. You have 3 guys in your starting rotation that seem to be a bright spot, and that's it. Everything else is a lackluster joke. Everything. And we're not even, like, it craved me this week seeing on social media Mets fans laughing at us, laughing at the Phillies, getting the brooms. You've seen that. And Mike Papernick, what's going on, buddy? You said it best last week. He says it now. Phillies are heartless. You said it best last week. Phillies at the time were a bad team just with a good record because they were beating up on bad teams to start the year against the Nationals. And you play the teams. And to be honest, Marlins are right there on your heel toes now. But yes, they're absolutely heartless. No urgency, no nothing. And like I said, did they need to get rid of Topper to wake up this team? I don't know. At some point, it comes back on the talent. The talent's not producing. And when you have lackluster offenses and all that stuff, like I said, I don't see, like, hindsight. What's this team going to look like come October? And I get it. We're only a month in of Phillies baseball. We're only a month in, but the red flags are just all over early, early. Mike Papernick says Harper strikes out in a game against the Mets and shows no emotion, but has to fix his hair. Yeah, I don't get it, and I don't understand why people got on top of Alec Bohm for showing frustrations that he was angry with himself. At least he's showing something. I get, well, he's not acting like a professional. So what? So what? He's angry. I would be angry at myself too. Mike Papernick says fire Robbie. That might be coming. That might be coming sooner than you think. And I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I hope that I'm wrong. Like I don't want to see Topper lose. I think he's a decent ball, manager, but he definitely needs to get some work done. You fire Robbie now, and it's early enough to right the ship. Yeah, I think Mike, though. I think if it continues down this avenue, the Phillies will look to move on from Topper, and you may have to do that. This might have to be another Gerard Cole, but again, how's that going to wake up a team? Do you have to do that every 2 3 years to fire your manager in order for this team to get into a rhythm? Like I don't understand it. Like I said, you definitely need to put Kyle Schwarber back to where he's most comfortable. Put him right in that leadoff position. He's not doing anything in the four hole. We thought the home runs would be coming right now, and they're not. He's just not in a comfort space. I'm sorry if you have to compromise to the guy, but this is what you got to do to get the best out of Schwarber. He needs to set the tone for this Phillies lineup. And right now, this Phillies lineup is lackluster. We all wanted Kyle Schwarber in that four hole, and you're getting no results, not the results that we wanted. We were hoping that there would be guys on base and that he would be hitting nothing but grand slams. That's being optimistic, and it's not panning out like the way we want it. And now there's issues all over, not just with the lackluster lineup. There's issues with the bullpen, which is a major, major red flag, and there's defensive deficiencies everywhere in the field. And this is not the way you want to roll. Mike Papernick also says, I've been saying this facial a couple of years. There is leaders There's leaders on this team, not one single, not one Harper, not Schwarber. Yeah, listen, and you're right. There's probably it's just lackluster. What it comes down to is just a lackluster group right now. Failing. Cassie had a hit. Max Kepler had a hit yesterday. Turner had a one hit. But like one hits are not going to cut it. Like this whole bunch is ice cold. Ice cold. Wow. Mike Kaepernick says this team is lackluster, just like their manager. You may be right. Like I don't. He doesn't show no signs of frustrations, and I don't understand it. Look, maybe as Phillies fans, we're pushing the panic button way too early. They're 13-13. They're a 500 ball club, but they're sitting at. When you look at the whole NL, they're in the 8th seed. They're falling apart. And now they need to find a way to get to a rhythm and compete. And they're not competing against good teams. They haven't looked good against the Mets. They haven't looked good so far against Chicago. Like, I get it. Kyle Tucker is one of the best players in the MLB right now. 33 hits, 8 doubles, 7 home runs, 23 RBIs. Like, this dude, like, he's a monster to deal with. But, the Cubs have a decent lineup. Carson Kelly, Seiya Suzuki. Like they got guys who can hit. We just don't. And those are the facts. Part of Robbie's job is to get your team ready, and he can't do that. No, and maybe he is, but like Mike, I know. And listen, I'm with you. He's part of the problem, but the other flip side of the coin is the talent on the field. They're not good enough. They're another year older. You're competing with the same team other than Austin Hayes, and you got Max Kepler. Like they didn't make no significant splashes in the winter. They didn't do anything really. They're running it back with the same team. Now, if you're looking at any kind of brightness, I mean, it sounds like JT Realmuto is coming around a little bit. Alec Baldwin's starting to hit the ball better, but no one's getting on the Schwarbers of the world. No one's getting on the Harpers of the world. They get on the one guy who pertains to be the whipping boy. Like, why are these other guys getting passes than Nick Castellanos? You throw rose petals at these guys when they do good, but I mean, it is what it is right now. It's horrible. This is a horrible, horrible baseball team with nothing, with no life in them. But let's look at today, right? You got Jesus Luzardo on the hill, which is a plus. We all know he's really, really good with his fastball and all that stuff. We know what he's capable of. Actually, he's going to be appeared by Benjamin Brown, who was drafted by the Phillies back in 2017. So we're going to see what happens there. But again, like I'm not mad with Taijuan Walker yesterday. Taijuan Walker didn't get no help in the outfield. Didn't get anything. He actually has some decent cutters that he was throwing yesterday. He got caught in the curveball. His curveballs weren't the best, but he did throw some nice heaters with his cutters. But your offense is not doing anything. Broken Bell Network chimes in from YouTube and says, "It is not a horrible. It's not a horrible team. It's not a producing team. Larry Bowas is the answer. Fire Hart." Well, listen, they need more of a fire hard. They need a whole body of work. Mike Peppernick says, people laugh at me when I say fire Dombrowski, go after Theo, and who comes down, who the consultants are for the from the who's the consultants for the Red Sox? Right, I'm with you. They need Mike. I'm totally with you, bud. They need to do like I said a lot of things here. They need to they got to get this team right. In order to do it, like I said, get Kyle Schwarber back up top. My man Steve Fernandez. And guys, if you are going to the Philadelphia Union game, remember today's a 4:30 game today. I'll be down there. My man Steve will be down there. I got to do coverage for them. So guys, that if there's any team this summer, this spring's looked good so far. At least it's the Philadelphia Union. State of emotionless team. They just aren't producing right now until someone is fired. There is what they are going to get it from a 500 ball. Right. And listen, if that's what it takes, because you remember what happened 3 years ago, this team was 12 games out and they got rid of Girardi, and everyone thought Topper was the answer. They've just only regressed since Topper's been, again, they go to the World Series and they've just regressed every year. Mike Peppernick says Walker has had one bad game this year, but Robbie has no confidence in him to go longer than 4 innings. Oh well, yesterday, see, it's Mike. Yesterday he threw a lot early. I think he was up near 90 pitches early within the 4 innings. So I get it why you pulled him early in yesterday's game. I get it. But I mean, if he had some early pitch counts, you could probably let him go a little longer. You definitely don't want that bullpen coming nowhere near that game, as ugly as they've been. Broken Bell Network says people sleep on the Cubbies pitching too. They didn't. They did a lot of work in the last 2 years to work on their starting pitching depth. Yeah, listen, and I'm glad you broke that up, brought that to my attention. Like the Phillies, the Cubbies pitching staff is pretty decent. It's pretty solid. You saw it yesterday. You saw it yesterday with Conria. He thumped that Phillies lineup. Thumped them. Steve Finette says, fire Robbie and bring in Jimmy Rollins to manage. Yes and no, Steve. I would love to see, I would love for them to bring in Jimmy Rollins, but if this team fails the way it's been, do you want to remember Jimmy Rollins for the failure team that he has to manage, or would you rather remember him to be the legend that he is? Like I don't want to remember Rob Thompson going down with this Titanic fire ship. I'd rather just remember Jimmy Rollins being the great legend that he is, that brought us, for me, my first ever championship to the city. I don't want to remember. I don't want to remember Jimmy Rollins for this wreck, this train wreck. Broken Bell Network says he's laughing as Jimmy loves selling. Oh my gosh, too funny there. Broken Bell Network, let him bring in the herd with him. Can't be any worse than what the Robbie's doing now. Yeah, right. But yeah. So again, guys, the Phillies are going through a rough patch. 5-game losing streak. They're 13-13. I don't know if they got what it takes to turn this thing around. I hope this ain't the downward spiral they plan on taking. Like they gotta find ways to get back into this thing. They gotta turn things around out there in the Windy City. But don't sleep on the Cubbies, though. Broken Bell Network said it best. They got a great pitching staff. They got guys who can hit. You don't want to get caught up in it. That could be trouble. Broken Bell Network says they only have like 222 games to bounce back. Yes, they do. They got a lot. Like I said, it's only a quarter way in, but where we're at now with the state of the team, I'm not happy. I'm not a happy place with your Phillies, and I don't think a lot of people are. I think a lot of people are very upset. Again, you had to expect this, right? We saw this coming. The Phillies lackluster. We seen it coming. Let's not pretend that we didn't see this coming. The Phillies have troubles. They have issues all over the place. But listen, let's get away from the Phillies talk, because if I talk any more Phillies, I'm gonna punch myself with this microphone. I'm really gonna bop myself with this microphone like it's a hammer. Broken Bell Network says they started like an 800 club and fizzled out. I'd rather start at 500 and build from there. It makes more sense to go over. And that's what they did, in their World Series run. They were 12 games out. But yeah, they are fizzling out. You're absolutely right, Broken Bell. But let's talk some Eagles, because the Eagles made some moves in the draft. Howie Roseman, the mastermind. Howie Roseman knows every general manager likes to play checkers, but this man loves playing chess. And this year, he didn't have to do much. He didn't have to do much. He just moved some pawns to get what he wanted. He's just moving pawns, and stuff's just falling to his lap. He gets Jahai Campbell with his first draft pick. He was looking to go up in the 20s, early 20s. It gets a linebacker from Alabama, which was in a lot of people's mock draft as a top 10 linebacker. And you heard what Howie said. This guy could play inside. He could come off the ball. He could go play edge rusher. And wait for Howie to address the team, because, Brandon Graham just retired. You're going to need help in the middle. You're going to have to make up for the lost grounds of the Milton Williams and all that stuff. So the Eagles made a nice move. Again, doing the thing. And last night, pick up a kid named Andrew Makuba, safety from Texas, who came from Clemson. Had 5 interceptions. And I believe 69 tackles. Like, this is great. Like he could, again, working on the safety. You lose CJ, you lose big play Slay, and you're working on the secondary. Broken Bell Network says Howie has such an amazing storyline. He was clueless, lost his job twice, and had some weird moves. Then, like that, became a mastermind. Well, listen, the best way to learn is from your mistakes, and he's become the mastermind. And isn't it sad, Broken Bell? Right? He's brought He's won 2 Super Bowls. He's been in the Super Bowl 3 times, won 2 out of 3 of them, and every other franchise in the city just can't figure it out. I don't get it. I can't believe the Eagles drafted a linebacker. I was 10 years old in 1979, the last time that the Eagles drafted a linebacker in Jerry Robinson. Wow. Wow. Yeah, listen, and that's what I like, Mike. And again, like I said, I don't hide it. I'm not the biggest college guru mind, but from on the stats and all that stuff, getting Jahai Campbell to come in here and make some noise, making up depth. You got to see how this thing plays out. And listen, anything now under that Vic Fangio umbrella should be a decent player. Like he's going to be a plug and play guy. He's going to be able to do some things. And it should be nice. I can't wait to see the birds, man. I can't wait. But and then, like I said, he works on secondary. So, and then after that, he just gets a bunch of picks. Regardless, a bunch of 3 or 4 rounders. All that's fun stuff. He racks up some, picks, a couple picks from the Broncos. Like how this is Howie's season. I think he racked up like 6 picks, according to my notes. He gets 3 picks from Denver, 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 6th round. I mean, he just knows how to make moves here. This is his thing. Howie's a mastermind. And I know somebody on this network. His name is Matty B. He's my man, but I just don't know. I don't know where the mind process of him just calling him a fraud, and hell, he's not. He's the only person in Philadelphia that I know is not a Howie guy. And Matty B is like the Grinch that sits on top of the hill that looks at Howie. I don't understand it. Like this guy's making moves here, making big things happen, and Matty B just sits up there like the Grinch, looking down. Should be happy because a lot of people wish they had a Howie Roseman in their front office. Mike Papernick says it took 46 years for the Eagles organization to draft a linebacker in the first round, right? That's absurd. The Philly podcast. Howie Roseman is actually a machine. He's actually a machine. He is a humanoid, AI learns from his mistakes and mistakes better decisions. Look at the forehead. Zero evidence of the damage, the barely no blood taken. He could do that. Right. Remember, he got popped in his head, and he showed, like I said, this guy just knows how to wheels and deals. Wow. The Philly podcast. Matty B is the mayor of Negadelphia. Mayors don't want him. Mayfair doesn't want him. Wow. Easy now. Easy now. This is a hot take. But the mayor, and listen, Matty B just talks from his heart. All in all. And listen, he wears his heart on the sleeves. There's no pom poms that come from Matty B. The Eagles have 6 picks today with 2 hours from and three and what's that? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. 2 hours and 3 5s in the first. Yeah, 2 rounds and right, gotcha. Yeah, how we could make some things happen today. What's up, Pat? My man Howie is willing and dealing as always. As always. He's always willing and dealing there. Adam, and good morning to you. This is what he does. He didn't have to do willing and dealing though. Adam, I mean, yeah, I mean the late drafts, but the stuff's just falling to his lap, and he's taking best availability. Like when other franchises don't really have an idea what he's doing, he's already got a game plan. Matty B, here goes Philly podcast. Matty B talks like he is paying the money directly from his own pockets. They don't own him a damn thing. Wow, Matty B getting roasted. I love it. I was upset they missed out on Starks and Campbell, but Campbell is a solid player, best linebacker in the draft, instant starter, great pick. Yeah, this is where, like I said, if anyone who watches a lot of on the It's a Wrap Sports, Steve Fernandez and Michael Lara watch a lot of college football, so they would know better than me. But Steve Fernandez loving the pick. Damn, Matty B ain't even here to defend himself. Yeah, right? Adam C says the Phillies are a dumpster fire, blow it all up. Hey, listen, they're going to do that themselves there, bud. They're going to do that themselves. The Phillies are a joke, but the Eagles, again, bring warmth to your heart. They bring warmth to your heart, right? Because this is what Howie does, is Howie season. Like, he makes moves here. And working on the defense side of the ball right away. Filling in the gaps. It's what you need. Oh, Cousin Steve checking into the program. What's up, Cousin Steve? He goes, I originally wanted Willow Johnson, but they think that the turf toe issue will linger. That's an issue. Yeah, listen, a lot of people are not a fan of it. But listen, guys, I'm going to shift gears here because I'm glad that everyone's joining the show because it is that time. I got two great gentlemen about to join the show. First and foremost, a good, great guys. Everyone knows this man I'm about to bring on because this man, when you think about the Philadelphia Flyers, he is right there. He is there to break it on down to. He's on NBC Sports Philly. He's on Philadelphia. He's everywhere. Great friend of mine. Got to meet him through the press box. Love picking his brain about hockey. And the other guest too is my man Frankie James, who's coming in, from the Chirpin Pox podcast. So let's bring on my man Jordan Hall and my man Frankie James. We're going to talk some Flyers puck. So guys, if you have your Flyers questions, please rack them up because it is now time to talk some puck here. And what are the Philadelphia Flyers going to do this summer and how big is that splash going to be? So let's bring in our guest here. My man Jordan Hall, my man Frankie James. Good morning, gentlemen.
Pat, how we doing, brother? It's only me in here, by the way. There he is.
There he is. Jordan, what's up? Frankie, what's going on?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good, man. How's things going with you? It's great to see you.
Good to see you both.
We came in. Pat was all fired up from the earlier show, man. He was letting it out earlier.
Two great hockey minds. Yeah. Well, I'm always doing that. So Frankie, Jordan, let's get right into it. The Flyers. Let's kind of revamp the season and what kind of moves that they're going to make. Right off the bat, Flyers are not going to make the playoffs. Obviously, they didn't make the playoffs. First thing that Danny Briere kind of addresses the head coach. It's going to be a head coaching search. Jordan, you kind of asked the question. To paraphrase it, are they going to? You would think, are they going to go through like a college rank of a coach? Do you think it's going to be another retread coach? What kind of coach, Jordan? I'll start with you. Would you like to see the Philadelphia Flyers go through?
I think a younger players coach could be really good for the Flyers. I think they've gone through the hard demanding style of John Tortorella, and it can kind of be cyclical at times. And maybe the cycle right now is saying the Flyers should go young players coach that's going to be open to teaching, be open to mistakes. It sounds like Danny Briere wants a coach that's going to give his players a little more freedom to show their talent, to show their skill. And they're always going to have John Tortorella's accountability in the background. I think he kind of left an imprint there with accountability, hard work, playing the game the right way. Now I think there's a good opportunity to bring in a coach that is going to be hands-on, is going to relate with the players and kind of build relationships with those players. That would be the route I would take. But I think it's very early in the process for the Flyers. I'm not sure that they're exactly sure on the type of coach they want. But we'll see where it all goes. It's definitely the biggest decision, I think, for Danny Briere and Keith Jones this offseason.
Same. I'm curious to know if they're going to go outside the box as well. I mean, I don't want to see another retrial. Like I know, like a lot of fans I talk to, whether it's in the grocery store or wherever, they're just like, "Oh, let's go for Rick Tocchet." I want to pump the brakes right there. But Frankie, where are you at with all this?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what Jordan said. I mean, obviously seeing how the end things ended with Tortorella too, and just kind of like what has gone around, just the way he kind of coached, and the accountability will definitely be there. But when a coach exits like the way that he did and what he said, and then more came out later, I mean, players' coach is so important. His team's still so young. I started to think about it too, really about who would it be, and depending on how the fandoms go. I mean, I definitely think Lappy definitely deserves an opportunity if that was a way that they would want to go. Young players coach is definitely the way to go, though, for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. I like to see a new young mind come in here, kind of grasp. And one thing Danny Briere did say too, he said that the next guy, whoever's going to be, is going to be involved with a lot of coaching decisions, and what they want to do. He's going to be in the loop, the communication, and all that stuff. So I do want to see them be able to communicate. And I'm pretty sure you guys have seen this and heard it too. When are what's next for the Philadelphia Flyers? When are they going to turn this thing around? I'm pretty sure the patience of the Flyer fans are starting to wear thin because they probably have heard some. Like I said, you guys probably have heard it too. That the Flyers have heard, hey, listen, 2-3 years, we're going to turn this thing around. 2-3 years, we're going to turn this thing around.
The old 2-3 years.
yeah, and a lot of Flyer fans are probably getting tired of hearing it. So, to me, is listen, they got a building place. They got Mitch Kopp in place. Now, where do you go from here? And I'll ask you, Jordan, what's the next position of need for this team to you?
Well, I think every team is looking for centers. I don't think the Flyers are the only team that wants centers, but it's difficult to really pick a center off a tree and just put them right in your lineup. I think you really draft and develop that position. Right now, if in the present, I think goaltending, they need answers in net. And the last 2 years, they just have not had them. And we all know what happened with Carter Hart and leaving the team because of the Hockey Canada sexual assault case. That really set the team back in net. And they were tied for last season in save percentage. This season, they had the worst save percentage in the league. It's not all on goaltending, but I think that is the most important position in the game. And it's probably critical for their rebuild, not only just trying to get better, but also have the players in front of the goalie develop. It's tough to develop in a losing environment. And if you're not getting consistent goaltending, the players might develop not as well in front of the goalie. So I think goaltending would be the biggest position this all season that I think the Flyers know they need to get some help and try to find a tandem for Samuel Ersson and see where Ivan Fedotov is come next camp, but not put it all on those two. So I would say goaltending might be the area the Flyers are really going to try to focus on this all season. Not the only area, but probably the most critical area on the ice. It's the most important position in the game for a reason, and I think the Flyers need to find an answer there.
Yeah, I agree too, Jordan. I would say that, listen, Sam Ersson's been decent. He played okay this year. He had 22 wins, 17 losses. But I think, like you said, it could, someone who is able to compete for that number one goalie spot and try and push him may have made him into a better goalie. And Now I think, like you said, without Carhart into the mix, where this is kind of like all on his shoulders a little bit. Ivan Fonotov did step up in some ways, but all realistically, like Sam Harrison, I think it had a lot on his plate, just trying to be that number one guy. And so that's where I'm with you. So Adam Cease is also checking out. Frank, I'll toss this one to you. He's question. He goes, "What do you guys think about the Philadelphia Flyers going to do with the same kind of question? What do you think they're going to do with the goalie situation?"
Yeah, I mean, of course, getting the follow the great Jordan Hall is always a good time as well. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of the most important things. I mean, just like Jordan had said, the goalie position is so important. I mean, we obviously saw that even with Carter Hart, because in my opinion, I think Carter may have came up maybe a year or two early, but it's just such an important role in hockey to have that goalie. I mean, we saw what he could do. So getting him up here, and he played well. But to touch on Sam Ersson, I like to think of it like this, man. Sam Ersson came into a situation that nobody knew was going to happen, being thrown in there, but not really supposed to be playing, but he knew what his duties were when Carter Hart was here. So now that Carter Hart had moved on with obvious reasons, Ersson was thrown in the mix. And I think he really did a great job, especially last year. Really held his own, really did a great job. And I think he'll definitely probably be here a little bit longer. I'd see that they definitely have to address the goalie situation, because Ersson needs the backup now, and I think he needs a solid number two. But to make that big move for a splash goalie, I don't think will happen just yet until we start to compete maybe in a couple more years. We'll touch on this. Another thing about just the team itself. It's great to see that there were with Mitch Colvin the way that he played, because bringing in a player like that and at the anticipation and just waiting, hoping that we nailed it, and boy that we nailed it. So now that is now secure, it gives you a little bit more breathing room to kind of check off other boxes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Adam Cease is also checking in. He goes, I say bring in a veteran goalie that is a free agent to help the younger guy, to help get it going, the younger players going. Jordan, what do you think about that? Should they go? I don't think they're going to do it this summer. Go get a with some of the cap space money, going to get a veteran, invest into a veteran goalie to bring in. I think they're going to roll out with Sam Harrison, but like you said, maybe look at the Fabs out. They're have some success, so maybe they stay within and bring somebody up that way.
Yeah, free agency is definitely a route they could take this offseason. They'll have some more money to spend. They'll have some money coming off the books. The cap's going up. And the trade route could also be an avenue in which they take. They might have more options via the trade route. If they really like a guy, go get him. And they have assets to do that. They have 7 picks in the first 2 rounds. They have 6 first-rounders over the next 3 drafts. So I'm not saying they're going to give up a first-round pick for a goalie, but they do have assets, and they have a little more money to spend. So they'll definitely have avenues to go get a goalie. And the trade route might give them more of a specific goalie they like. Free agency, obviously, there's only so many goalies that are on expiring contracts. Whereas if they really like a goalie and they think the term fits well and they have some assets to give up to maybe go get them, they could do that. So they're going to have options. And I think it's such a critical position. They know they have to do something to try to help that position group and give them a better chance just to win games, make saves, and get better this season. I think they have to get better.
I'm with you. I think the Flyers are. I think, like I said, going to that last press conference, listen to Danny Briere. Again, there's some things I liked. He was honest. He said that, listen, last year we kind of overachieved. Wasn't expected to be at that 6th seed, and then the wheels fell off. But this year they felt like they underachieved. And one of the things that you mentioned about the goaltending situation, they felt like they kind of underachieved a bit this year. They wasn't expecting, this wasn't what they expected. They probably expected a little bit more of Sam Harrison. But like I said, the goal scoring has to be there. I think the key thing for me, though, if one of the most position things I like to see the Flyers work on is the defense. Get going through the defense. You need a couple of defensemen. My eye test, since Sean Walker had was left from the club, they haven't been right since at that defensive position to help out the goaltending. So that's where I'm at.
What a take, man! What a take.
So no, I'll toss this to you from It's Around Sports. He said with the arrival of Jet, Crickering, Pump, Brunson, Devlin, and hopefully the bunk does the single the end of the elevation there. Excuse me. Was on other as now is more cap. So what more drafts and assets? So like I said, is Daniel Barrera going to make a big splash this summer there, Jordan?
Is Briere going to make a big splash? Is that the question?
Yes.
Oh, is Danny going to make a big splash? I think it's possible he'll be very active, proactive. I think he'll be aggressive this offseason. I don't know if this is the offseason where they're going to make a huge splash. I think they're going to have some money, but they're not going to have as much as they would, say, the following offseason. And they might not be in this spot where they think they need a huge splash. I think if they get better this upcoming season, if they make a couple of additions that help, if they draft well, they have a couple kids come up through their system and get into their lineup. If they get better this offseason, I think they'll be in much more of a advantageous spot to add, maybe make a splash and take that next step. But I don't know if this was the offseason where they're going to go out and fish for a huge name. But I do think they'll make additions. I think they're going to try to get better. I just think it could be the following offseason where they'll be in a better spot to do so with the All Nice product and also with their spending and assets.
Yeah, I love that. I actually want to touch on that too with you. I mean, seeing next year, once again, it's another year, so I wouldn't think that there's going to be a big splash as well. I think it's more or less seeing what you have. I mean, there's a lot of good things that came from this past year. Tyson Forrester is probably at the top of my list. I think my hot take was probably that he was good. I think he scores more goals than TK next year. Seeing what he was able to do towards the end of that year, I think it was absolutely incredible the way that he played, and not to mention the line that he's on. I mean, what a great line that turned out to be. The draft is obviously going to be important. It's going to be fun this year too because there's so many assets. Whether you end up moving some or you actually are going to use everyone for the draft, it's going to be exciting. There's still young players. Develop them, give them the opportunities to come up, and then that following year, I think, is when you might start to see some making moves in free agency. And I think that following year, once again, the 2-3 years, I think that third year is going to start to get to see some competition. But yeah, it's still really early on to see big splash move. But I think they're sticking with the rebuild, and I think that that's an incredible move. Is not abandoning that, because once you get that little bit of hope, even last year when they were getting close to make the playoffs, people started talking, people started getting nervous. Are they going to make a move and just abandon the rebuild? And just Danny has done absolutely incredible. And I think it's been great. And I'm looking forward to what happens in the draft. It's very deep draft too.
Frank, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think, though, with everything with on the ice, off the ice, some of the trades they made, moving on from Morgan Frost, moving on from Joel Farabee this year, moving on from Scott Lofton, I was really happy about it. Just like I said, free up some of the cap space, bring it, just get things back in the rhythm. So, Jordan, I got to ask you a question. How do you, after a year and some change now of the Danny Briere and Keith Jones regime, how do you feel about them moving the team forward? Do you still trust them? Do you think they're still, because I don't think this is going to be your normal old school Flyer mentality where they're just going to look for guys who want to scrapple. I think they are going to go based off talent and bring it in, take this thing one step at a time and making this thing right. Where are you as far as Danny Briere being the right GM for this team?
Yeah, I think they've given the fan base reason to have faith in them. I haven't seen anything yet where I've really questioned it. I think they've done a good job in terms of building up their draft capital, focusing on draft and development, and getting their assets right, getting in a position where they can be creative. And I think this offseason, they've put themselves in a really good spot to potentially be creative and add to the team now. So I agree with Frankie. I think it was good that they didn't abandon the rebuild last year. They still moved Sean Walker. They still made a rebuilding type of move. So I think they've done a good job at focusing on the future, not getting caught up in one playoff run or one season. But now, the true test will be this offseason and the next. Can they get it into another gear? I think early on, it's kind of the honeymoon phase for the GM and president. But now, it becomes a little more tougher, a little more challenging because to get it to go into the next gear is where it's really tough. And they're going to have to be strategic and try to take advantage of what they've done so far. But I think they've done a nice job in terms of building up draft picks, freeing up some cap, and thinking of the long game, not just making moves for right now. They've done a good job of projecting out, and I think, but they still have a long way to go. But I think so far so good with Danny Briere and Keith Jones. But it only gets tougher from here.
Yeah, I definitely want to touch on that too, there, Pat. I think exactly what I mean. I'll say that from a different standpoint. The feeling down there at the Wells Fargo Center at Flyers training facility, even playing hockey there and going there during the training development camp, it's packed. There's a buzz in there since Danny and Jonesy have come. It definitely 100% has changed the atmosphere. You're seeing them so much in the public more, just coming down, being around. I haven't seen that in a long time. It was a very, very different feel from a fan's perspective, from someone that, being around the rink, taking photos every now and then. It's a welcoming feeling. It's a safe place feeling. And I think that goes a real long way, because I think there was a lot of lack of leadership from upstairs and from in the locker room, and things have definitely adjusted. I mean, look at the way that the Carter Hart situation was even dealt with. I mean, that was very difficult, and they've handled that correctly. The trade with Cutter, having to handle that and keeping that low key, not letting that get out until it did. Which I'm sure Jordan knows, that happened mid-game. and Danny did a little presser right upstairs. Yeah. I was like looking at my phone. I was in the stands watching the game, and I was like, wow, did this really just happen? And there was a monster buzz around. But just in the good note of, they're doing the right thing. Things aren't getting public that shouldn't be public. And incredible leadership. I think those two have done an incredible job. And I have a really, really good feeling and high hopes that it's just only going to continue.
I agree. I like Danny Briere. I think, again, pretty something with talking like a lot of Flyer fans. They probably thought this was going to be, an old school Flyers move. He's going to bring in a bunch of guys from, and that the mindset is just so gone. And he and Keith Jones just evaluate talent, not just, they go around the leagues and check out what's working, what's not. And like right now, like the way he just addressed about the head coaching situation. I loved what Danny Briere said. Listen, we're going to take our time. We're going to see what works with our players. We're going to see, and I'm paraphrasing, will work best. But, also, again, a guy who's going to be very communicative. And that's what I like to hear from Danny. He's straight up. He's honest. He's going to show his whole deck of cards. He's very, very good with the fans and the media. So I think he's done a great job. Here,
Pat, I want to touch on something real fast, if you don't mind. Just you made a good point. And the way that he's being able to deal with everything. And I'll tell you this: seeing how those two are, and I've gotten to meet Danny a couple times, and I used to see Jonesy at the Starbucks in Medford back in the day. But you're going to start seeing that people are going to want to play here. It's a crazy league these days, especially even seeing from playing from a young age and seeing how things are. Entitlement in players these days, and the younger players, it's starting to become a thing, and it's very, very unfortunate the way that can be. But I think you're going to see another year and a half that people are going to get it, that they're doing the right thing, and people are going to want to come here and play. And I think that's going to happen rather quickly.
I think so too. Again, Mitch Kopp's your bread and butter. He's going to be the foundation for me. I think you're at a safe haven, and people are going to want to come play with this kid. He's got talent, and some of the things that Danny Briere said in the press conference, like the way he just thinks. He said some guys don't catch on to in their 30s. Like he's catching on now and asking questions. I like that from Mitch Kopp, and I think you're going to be safe there. You got Travis Konechny, Owen Tippett. Has back decent production. Decent production from Owen Tippett. Now you got Noah Cates, Tyson Foster's. Obviously, those guys take a little bit step forward. The Bobby Brinks of the world step forward. So, all those, all that stuff going on. So I got a couple more questions coming in. It's a Rap Sports, which will probably be Matty B. He goes, future of Cam York, he's a restricted free agent. Do we take a shot and see if the issues were a tourist thing or definitely resigning or on all fronts? So Jordan, I'll give that one to you.
I still think they view Cam York very highly. I wouldn't give up on a 24-year-old defenseman who was a first-round pick, a kid they took over Cole Caulfield. So I think we're not sure exactly what Cam York's ceiling is, but I do think the relationship with John Tortorella kind of wore thin for both. I think this year he really went through it. From a physical standpoint, I think he battled an injury on top of Tortorella being very demanding, very hard on him. Tortorella helped him a lot last season. I thought he got better under Tortorella. This season, I just think they had their differences. I think a clean slate for York will do really well for him. He is in a contract year, so he'll have a new contract going into next season. But I don't think they're ready to give up on Cam York. They have him under team control, so he's going to be a part of this for the next couple seasons, and I think he's got a chance to get better. I think there's upside, there's higher ceiling there. And what has opened my eyes is he's a really good defender. I always pictured him more as an offensive-minded guy, but he has shown he can really defend. I think the next step will be trying to tap into his offensive upside and get him to push the puck more consistently and create offense for the Flyers. But, yeah, very much I think still a big part of the future here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, could you imagine them just turn it on Cam York? I'd be like, wow, I don't know what's going to be next. But I mean, I'll say this about Cam York. He was one of my favorite players coming in when he was going to make his way up here. And I predicted him to probably be a better goal scorer than Ivan Provorov. Now, when Ivan Provorov left, a lot of people, you lose the minutes and stuff like that. So is Cam York going to take that? I mean, and that's not the kind of player he was. And I agree. I think that I was expecting a little bit more offensive upside. But to get a little personal with and touch on this, what Cam York went through with John Tortorella, sure, there was probably some positives that came out of that. But listen, no play. It's a tough sport. It's demanding, but there's a fine line between demanding and what's expected, and a little further. And no players, especially a young player, and his situation, have to go through and deal with some of the stuff that was going on, which is why there was an immediate change. I think he's had it rough this year. I'm looking; he's definitely going to be bouncing back. I mean, listen, when John Tortorella had left and was let go, there was once again another buzz. These players that were struggling and in droughts just turned it up immediately. Is that because of the coaching? Is that because of just the different energy? I think it's definitely all intertwined with each other. But yeah, I think Cam York's going to have another good year, man. And I think he's going to hit double-digit goals next year and only improve.
Yeah, I think so too. I like to see Cam York again. One of the things that Dane Breer kind of preached on is giving some of the players some freedom and let these guys play their game. So that's going to be interesting to see coming to the next season. It's a rough sports is saying, is it a generational lefty talent with Schaefer, or is it a biggest need at center with Messa, McQueen, or Higgins? Or Hogan's? Where do the Flyers go with no worse than the fourth pick? All day one NHLers, by the way. So, Jordan, what do you think? Where are the Flyers going to go right off the bat with their number one pick?
Well, they can pick worse than fourth. They can pick fifth or sixth. They can pick no worse than sixth. And, of course, they have a chance to go all the way up to number one. But still very much a quality pick in the 4 to 6 range probably. And they're not going to draft positional need. They'll draft best player available. And I think it just so happens that there's a lot of centers in this draft, a lot of forwards. So if I had to guess, I would say they go forward, and ideally, I think they would love to get a center. I'm not sure if Michael Misa falls to them, but he's putting up a ton of points in the OHL. James Higgins is he's a nice freshman out of Boston College. Anton Frondell is from Sweden, good size, good ability. Roger McQueen's huge. He had an abbreviated draft year because of injuries, but a ton of upside there. And then even Caleb Desnoyers, his brother's in the organization, and so they'll know him well. So I think if they had the perfect pick, they would like to get a center, but they'll definitely go best player available, and I think they're going to have a really good shot at one in the 4 to 6 range.
Yeah, having so many assets in the
same. I think.
Sorry, there, Pat. It was our polls. I didn't mean to jump in like that, but yeah,
go.
Assets that the way they do this year. This is quite exciting, especially just the way that the team's been playing. Like this is a big year. It's a huge year. I mean, I would love to get a good center, and I think you're getting an immediate impact player, someone that's definitely going to make a chance. And anybody that's watching any college hockey or anything like that, or just junior hockey, you're seeing some of the talent here. They're definitely going to get a nice player. I personally would love to see them get James Higgins. We'll see. I also would love to see them get the number one, but we know how the draft lottery has worked out for us. Going into the 2000 when we were supposed to have the number one pick, and we got the number two with JVR. But listen, they're also a front runner for getting Maxime Shanabov here, and I know that he's a player that they're talking about possibly, but we're a favorite. I think that we're possibly a favorite because once again, the talent that we have here, getting Mitchkov here early, was an incredible move. Something that I didn't think was going to happen. Also, a reason why I didn't know if they were going to draft Mitchkov where they did, because at the time he wasn't marketable, and in a year where we were probably really concerned about fan base, but being able to get him here a couple years early, it definitely helped out speeding up the process a little bit. Watching the way that he played is an incredible thing. I personally have him as a 40-goal scorer next year. That's another hot take for my season next year. I really do, especially with some of the additions that may come in and play with him. But let me tell you something. I mean, you saw it with Detroit when they brought in the Fab Five team, and they had incredible talent there. You're going to get some of these Russian phenoms that want to come play with another Russian phenom, and get those young players. And I think get a player like him, and you do well in the draft, and just don't quit on these players. And I honestly think in 2 to 3 years, once again, legitimately, this may be a top 5 team. And if they address the goaltending situation the right way and do it the right way, I really do. I think that this could be a top 5 team, playing really well, really good hockey, and just watching our players just increase more. The players I think that we're seeing now get better and better are going to take big steps. And Noah Cates is also at the top of my list for that as well. I really think he's a potential Selke winner, if you ask me. Can't abandon everything, man. You just got to stick with it and draft well and enjoy the ride while you can.
Definitely. Like I said, I'm with you. I think this team is going to get into the right direction. I think you got the right guys in place. You're going to eventually, like I said, take us time. You heard what Danny Briere said. They're going to find the right coach, bring them in, and go forward from there. And like I said, this is still everyone. I think everyone forgets it's still a very young team. We got a very young corporate guys. The Tyson Forresters, the Cam Yorks, you still got a bunch of young cats, the Ryan Pollings, the Bobby Brinks. These guys are up and coming players. You got to let them get into the zone and let them do their thing. Matty B is getting on Frankie here because kind of feel is a rising star in the league. York isn't. Come on. York's defense was terrible this season. Watch the tape. Oh, man.
I love that Matty B's talking on his own show somewhere else, and Matty B's not even here right now. Unbelievable. Listen, you have to keep in mind, man, it's still a team. So I'll give you my take of the whole season, all right? As a fan and as someone that has been in the media for a little bit at one point, my goal, wins or losses, man, I knew that we weren't going to make the playoffs. I mean, you don't know what, it didn't bother me. Brandon Mitchkov, for his first year, the most important thing this year was surrounding him around pieces and seeing what they were going to put around him and seeing who we could play with, because that was the most important thing. I mean, he is the future, and you have to put pieces around him. I compare it to the Claude Giroux situation. I really believe that Claude Giroux was placed in a situation where they wanted him to score goals, and you heard the fan base, score goals. Claude Giroux is a playmaker, an incredible playmaker with offensive upside. And I believe that they didn't put the pieces around him for him to be able to play up to his potential. Jake Voracek, another incredible playmaker, also with some upside. I mean, he played with Matt Reed for some time, who they thought that was going to have huge upside. And it just didn't work out. And Claude Giroux really didn't have that goal scorer to dish the puck to. I mean, you could look at it like this. Imagine if we would have had Patrick Kane, he was playing with him, a true goal scorer, an incredible player. Very different outcome, very different opinion on Claude Giroux. You have to put the right pieces around Mitchkov, see what's going to work, but put him in a position to succeed like no other. I love watching him and Jet down at training camp. I mean, Jordan, I'd love to know your opinion on this too. Him and Jet played on the line together a lot through training camp last year. And they just kind of knew. It was like they already had a feel for the ice, and not to mention to play that well with each other where your teammate that doesn't speak a lick of English, just being able to connect like that. I really do. I put that in the factor here because you're not doing much communication on the bench. It's based off of knowledge and positional hockey and just knowing. So seeing the way that those two play was incredible, and also seeing the way that Michkov can play from natural talent with other people where he really can't communicate. I'd love to see Jet come back up here. I think he definitely gets the opportunity. But training camp and watching them is that close, man, they were flying. Jet's a really, really great player. I'm really excited for him. He's probably one player I'm most excited for this offseason. And in the Phantoms. He's in the Phantoms right now doing it up. They got an opportunity to get him. He played 2 assists. I was listening to our good friend Jason Martinez, man, and shout out to him when he did his show yesterday, and he was just talking a little bit about it because he got to talk to Ian LePerriere. And what a great interview that was. And, it's really cool to be able to see what's going to happen.
Yeah. So, question for you, Jordan. What is going to be the major next step for Michkov?
I think just to continue to get better. I mean, he had a great rookie season. I think very promising. I think the big thing will be conditioning this offseason and coming into the season understanding the grind of the NHL. We saw dips from him throughout the season, and that's par for the course with a 20-year-old rookie coming from Russia. I think you're not going to see him put up points every single night. So I think kind of eliminating the slumps and also understanding the grind of the NHL, I think he'll have that under his belt now. So it's really just about being there a little more every day, every night for the Flyers. But, I mean, the ceiling is super high. I think they believe he can be the face of this. And like Frankie said, you put more talent around him, the better he'll be as well. So I think it's just about taking the next step. And that's probably being a little more consistent, upping his points a little bit. And just kind of being there every game. That will be the next goal.
40 goals, Jordan. 40 goals. You're hearing it here. We're gonna revisit this, man. I'm telling you, with additional pieces around him, he's the kind of guy that can take a giant leap. He just has that talent. I mean, look at the games when he was in a drought. A couple of goals here and there when that didn't go well. The coaching situation. You take that away. You give a fresh start. I mean, that drought, I don't see many droughts in his future. I really don't. I think that this is true talent. It's very exciting, and I'm sure that you can feel it, man, just covering him, talking about him, writing about him, and just evaluating his talent. I mean, being a hockey player and watching him as a hockey player, he's 2 steps ahead, and he's just an incredible player, and I think he's going to only get better. I mean, we're seeing something that we haven't seen in a long time, and even considered wow, well, look who we have. This might be the real deal. I haven't seen anything like that really since Eric Lindros. And that was a long time ago. I mean, really think about it. Everybody throws that name around because he's still such a big piece here. But to have that kind of talent in a league like this, I mean, you just build around him. I mean, this kid is going to be absolutely incredible. Potential 100 points in a season, 40 goals. You're seeing something really, really, really incredible right now. It's exciting. Finally, we got something, Jordan. We got someone, man. It's incredible. It really is.
Yeah. So, Jordan and Frank, I got 2 more questions. Jordan, I'm going to go with you. How can the power play get better here from here on out?
Well, first they'll need to hire a coach for it, and we'll see. That will very much be up to the head coach that they bring in. But I think coaching will go a long way. It has to somewhat be on coaching if it is the way. If it's where it was ranked the last 3-4 seasons, it can't all be on talent, but they can get better from a player personnel standpoint, no doubt. I think if they continue to draft and develop and bring in some pieces, maybe look to add somewhere this offseason, a guy with power play pedigree that can really help. So some of it is definitely, I think, talent, and then some of it is coaching. But exactly X's and O's, I'm not sure. It's tough. Sometimes you saw them simplify and it didn't work. Sometimes you saw them try things and it seemed like they were trying too much. So it's a little bit of coaching, and I think it's a little bit of player personnel. It's going to be both, but it has to get better. It's been last in the league over the last 4 seasons combined. So it wasn't all on Rocky Thompson. It started before his arrival. It's going to have to be a little bit of everyone. I think Mishkov will be a huge answer moving forward, but it can't just all fall on him. They're going to need some other options. They're going to need a quarterback to kind of facilitate, and I think they could use more talent around the net too. Guys that can play behind the net and make things happen. So
I'm glad you got that question, Jordan.
A little bit of everything, yeah.
Well, I got one from your favorite customer too, Frankie. Your man Matty B's checking in again. Is with Fedotov and Kozlov, what are the chances the Flyers are moving on from them? Jake Allen is available as an unrestricted free agent, and could they add a pair with him and Arison? Russian Stars as in the Valley as we waiting for. So yeah, what's your take on possibly picking up Jake Allen and moving on from Kozlov and Fedotov?
So wherever you are, Matty B, I hope you're enjoying yourself, man. I hope it's worth it, by the way. And yeah, so listen, I think there was definitely more disappointment than excitement for the simple fact of where their numbers were. I was really surprised on how Kozlov played. I was pretty surprised that he was a high end guy that was coming in here. Obviously came in here in a weird situation with everything that happened. You can't. Maybe Kozlov's not going to be here. I think Fedotov will be. Once again, it's situational with why just dump these two young goalies off and not giving them another chance in a year where we're still not there pushing. You just can't. To me, if they moved on from them two this quickly, it would bring some concern of what direction are they trying to go here. It's a big move to make. Maybe not if it's not in a directly positive way. You have to give them some more opportunities. It's just important for the rebuild and just to see what kind of talent you have and you're going to generate. So, yeah, Matty B, it seems like you're directing towards leaving on them. So maybe it's a good thing that you're wherever you are, not on this show right now. Already abandoning the young talent. Way to go, Matty B.
Yes. He goes, power play was better and was from 12% than 15% last year. It was that was all coaching. There was no talent. The power play was developed to highlight your talent, and the Flyers don't have any. Man, Matty B is
rebuild year,
Matty
B. Patience. All right, come on. You're a referee. You're on the ice.
Yes,
you know how it is. You just take your time. You see what you have, and there's still more pieces to bring up. Matty B. Unbelievable.
Yes. All right, one more last question before I let you guys go. Frank, I'll go with you. Your Stanley Cup, who's coming out of the West, who's coming out of the East, and who's winning it?
Oh, man. Oh, good Lord. Let's see here. I mean, watching the games, there's a lot of lopsided games. I thought about it. I haven't really seen too much to where this is going to happen. I went with Washington and Toronto, kind of one of those situations where everything that happened with Washington, it's pretty incredible. And not only this, but everything was surrounded around Ovi, but people forgot they were an incredible team this year. I mean, once again, another incredible team with a great year. And I got Toronto. I got Toronto getting in there. I do. I got Toronto getting in there. Who's going to win it? I would throw it to Washington just because, that's my opinion. I'm probably going to be way off, but yeah, that's who I got. I wanted Carolina. Every time Carolina gets to the playoffs, that's who I pull for. The Flyers aren't in there. We'll love to see Rod Brind'Amour get one as a coach. I think that that team is so good. They have talent, but I think that a coach like Rod Brind'Amour can bring a team even closer. So I mean, that was my pick from the beginning. Right when they got in the playoffs, I always pull for him, and I always think that they has an incredible team, incredible coaching ability to do it. And they're not looking too good right now. So maybe my predictions aren't all that good. So I don't gamble. I'm not a gambling man.
Where do you go, Jordan? Who do you got?
In an article for our website, NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com, at the beginning of the season, I had Leafs over Stars. So you know what? I'll stick with that. It's looking okay right now. So I'll stick with Leafs. I think they'll finally get over the hump. I think with Craig Berube behind the bench and the pressure kind of building over the seasons where they've had some early exits, I think they'll get over the hump, and I'll say they do it over the Stars.
Toronto will go absolutely insane if they go to the Cup. We all know how Toronto fans are probably the fans. I have some friends up in Canada. I talk to them all the time. It might be one of those teams that they love their Maple Leafs, and if they go and win, I mean, look what happened. They finally got out of the first round, and they erupted. It was insane. It was like they won the Cup. They finally did it. If they go to the Cup and win it, I mean, not only for the country of Canada, but that would be insane. That would be absolutely insane.
Lofty with a ring. Lofty with a ring. Oh, I don't know how to take that.
Oh, I know. Yeah, think about that too, right? Jesus.
Oh man,
He deserves it.
So
Definitely deserves it.
I think it's going to be Toronto, and I think it's going to be the Kings. I think the Kings are going to be your sleeper coming out of this West. So I still think the Kings is just they are. They're looking phenomenal. So that's what I think. But I think Toronto has definitely got the upper hand here. And I think Austin Matthews is due. He is due to get one. So. All right, listen, guys. I want you guys to enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Jordan,
Pat,
thank you so much,
Pat,
guys. Give my man Jordan a follow. Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you so
much. Yes, you can there, Frankie. Go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, after some couple weeks of talking, there was just some posts that went out, and after some good conversations with our good friend Jason Martinez, everybody's aware of what he's going through right now. After conversations, Chirpin Pucks Media presents. We are having a hockey tournament for Jason. Everything's been donated to the Martinez family. It's a 3-on-3 style ice hockey tournament at the Flyers training facility. All proceeds are going to Jason. We're going to have raffle baskets. We just blasted that out there after good conversations with the rink. I'm looking forward to it. I'm probably going to ref it. I think the talent might be a little too good for me, but we have some great people that are going to be involved with it. So if you have any information, just please reach out to us. You can check out my social media. Really, really excited, man. It was some good conversations with Jason. And from a personal level, my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer about 4 or 5 years ago. I saw what it went through. I saw the financial hit that it took to my family with my mom, and just watching everything that's going on. Jason's a hockey guy. He loves the sport. He plays hockey. And I'm a big believer of hockey players unite. And after conversations, it was funny. It was actually like in the middle of the night, and I saw that he was on, and I said, "You know what, Jason? This is what I want to do, man." And he gave me the okay. I went to ask his permission first, make sure it was cool. And we finally got the date. We're rocking and rolling. We're going to have 6 teams involved on a 3-on-3 round robin style for a championship. We're going to have a lot of good things going on. So really, really excited that. Thanks for letting me plug that too, by the way. And Jordan, I hope you make it down, man.
No, I definitely hope to. That's awesome stuff. Jason's the best. We're praying for him on. He is awesome. So I'm glad everyone's been able to kind of rally behind him and support him. And I think what you're doing, Frankie, is great. That's awesome to hear.
Thanks, man. Appreciate anything for him, man. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy, good friend of mine. I love Jason. Again, me and him go back almost 10 years.
He loves you, Pat. He does. He loves you, man.
I know it. I know he does. But listen, guys, thank you so much. And guys, give my guys Jordan Hall a follow on Twitter, Instagram. You know where he's at. Jordan, what's some of the plugs these guys can follow you at?
Yeah, you can follow me at our website, NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com, or on Twitter, JHallNBCS. You can find my work at both those places. So that'd be great.
Yeah, so guys, give my man Jordan here a follow. I love seeing him on the TV. Love to get this, watch him do his thing. Love getting to chatting up with him, when the Wings and Flyers, intertwine once in a while. We'll get there. Me and Jordan will sit there and talk puck for like an hour or two. But yeah, it's good stuff. Always good, always a good job hanging out with my man right here, Jordan. And Frankie, where can the people follow you at?
Yeah, I just want to tell a little story real quick. I remember when I had gotten the chance to first meet Jordan. It was training camp against the New York Rangers, and Wade Allison had gotten hurt in that training camp. I think Jordan had an article out within 3 minutes. It was the fastest hands on the ice, man. So it was incredible that he was able to get. I was like, damn, man, that was fast. But it's a pleasure to be here, man. Seriously, to do this with both of you. Chirpin Pucks on Instagram, not Chirpin Pucks. Chirpin Pucks on Facebook. That's where we do the podcast. That's where we put out all of our tournament action and stuff like that. It's where we get a lot of updates on the events that we have going on. And just to throw out there, if anybody ever has an event, hockey players, let us know. We want to plug it for you. We want to make sure we have people there.
All right, guys. Well, there you go, guys. Enjoy your Phillies. Enjoy all your NHL playoffs today. No need to go outside. It's rainy. It's cold. Enjoy the day anyway. Guys, thank you so much, and enjoy the weekend.
My pleasure, guys. Take care. Thanks, Jordan.
Thanks so much, guys. Great to see you. Great to chat with
Jordan.
you.
Great seeing you, man.
Take care, guys.
Good to say thanks, Jordan.
Thank you.
See you, Frankie. Bye, guys. Bye.